Yeah, so this was actually one of the first events that I've talked about the new data. The question that I'm getting at is, can we roll soybeans once the crop is up? So typically farmers, we're rolling soybeans because we want to smooth the seed bed, capture as much of those low pods and yield as possible. But with that, we have some unintended consequences. When we smooth the soil surface, we're crushing those soil particles, which are prone to wind erosion, so soil blowing away, and also surface crusting, so reducing infiltration of the rainfalls that come afterwards. And so post-emergent rolling is an option to reduce that window of susceptibility of the soil surface. So this is really the first time we've tested it in Manitoba. I have results from 2024 and 2025. The first 2 years of data is really looking optimistic, that there is quite a window for post-emergent rolling in soybean, starting actually right away at emergence. So once that cotyledon is up and unfolded, rolling has shown to be safe with less than 1% plant damage, no loss to yield, right through to first to second trifoliate. So cotyledon emerged, unifoliate V1, V2, that's like a 2 to 3 week window in June where we're seeing minimal plant damage and no yield loss with post-emergent rolling. So that's 2 years of study. We're going to do it a third year just to boost our data set, but I'm expecting to see very similar results. Iron chlorosis is not a lack of iron in the soil. It's the conditions of the soil that neutralize the rhizosphere where soybeans can't take up the iron that's available. And so the conditions that lead to that are often, carbonates. So Manitoba has highly carbonated soils, and when those soils get wet, it creates that neutral rhizosphere, which reduces the ability of the soybean to take up the iron. So carbonates, high nitrates, salinity, those three conditions combined with wet soils is what leads to IDC. IDC is quite a widespread production challenge for soybeans where our crop yellows off in June following some spring rains, and with that yellowing, we expect to see yield loss. So the best management tool for IDC is variety selection. So there's genetic differences in how soybeans respond to that iron chlorosis condition. And so the recommendation is for farmers to choose varieties with the low IDC score to reduce the effects of that. Now the kind of new question is, IDC usually only occurs in say 25, maybe 50% of a field. So the management that we're doing for a quarter of the field, is that also optimizing and maximizing yield in the non-IDC areas of the field? So that's kind of the novel question that I'm getting at with this work. So we've established a relationship between IDC score and yield. So we know that low IDC score equals high yield in IDC areas of the field to the tune of 3 to 6 bushels, assuming that your varieties differ in IDC score by 0.1 or 0.2. So now this new data set also established IDC trials in the non-IDC area of the field, very close to the IDC area, so that we could control the environment factor and really just look at the IDC and non-IDC conditions of the same field. So what we found is that in those 9 non-IDC areas of the field, the IDC score that we rate in the IDC area is also indicative of high yield in the non-IDC areas. Or in some site years, there's just been no relationship, which is fine too. So what that's telling me and telling us as farmers and agronomists is that yes, IDC score is a good indication for high yield in IDC and non-IDC areas of the field. So I didn't talk about it at Ag Days today here, but I have quite a body of research looking at improving efficiency of dry bean nitrogen management. And the point that I'm at now is actually quantifying how much nitrogen fixation that cultivars or varieties that we grow of dry beans in Manitoba are actually fixing. And that's in parallel with testing inoculants and nitrogen fertilizer rates, with the overall goal of improving the efficiency of N management. So the early results are showing dry beans are actually producing some N through N fixation, and can we capture that N fixation benefit? Does that translate to reduced N fertilizer rates?